What are the most common reasons for needing bee removal services? Bees are essential to the environment and play a critical role in pollination. However, they can sometimes cause problems when they build their nests in close proximity to humans. Some of the most common reasons for needing bee removal services include their tendency to build nests in homes, sheds, decks, and other structures. Bees can also become aggressive when they feel threatened, and their stings can cause serious harm, especially to those with allergies. In some cases, bee colonies may be too large or too close to an area where people live, work, or play, making removal necessary. How do you determine if a bee colony needs to be removed? There are several factors that can be used to determine if a bee colony needs to be removed. One of the most important is the size and location of the colony. If the colony is located in a place where people or pets are likely to come into contact with the bees, or if it is too close to a home or other building, it may need to be removed. Other factors include the species of bee and the behavior of the colony. Some bee species, such as honeybees, are less aggressive than others and may not pose a significant threat. In contrast, bumblebees and yellow jackets can be very aggressive and may require removal for safety reasons. Are bees a threat to humans and pets during the removal? Bees can be a threat to humans and pets during removal, especially if the colony is located in an area where people or animals are likely to come into contact with the bees. If a bee colony is disturbed, the bees may become aggressive and attack anyone or anything that comes too close. This can be dangerous for people and pets, especially if they are allergic to bee stings. During bee removal, it is important to take proper precautions to ensure the safety of everyone involved. What methods does PestServices.com use to safely remove a bee colony? There are several methods that can be used to safely remove a bee colony, including vacuum removal, cutout removal, and bee extermination. Vacuum removal is a method in which the bees are suctioned into a specialized vacuum, which is then used to remove the colony. Cutout removal involves cutting out the colony and moving it to a new location. Bee extermination involves using chemicals or other methods to kill the bees. The method used will depend on several factors, including the location and size of the colony, the species of bee, and the availability of equipment and resources. The time required will also depend on the availability of resources and the expertise of the bee removal specialist. It is important to work with a professional who has the experience and knowledge to safely and efficiently remove the colony. How does the bee removal process work? The bee removal process typically begins with a professional inspection of the affected area to determine the size and location of the bee colony. Once the colony has been identified, the next step is to safely remove the bees without causing harm to the colony or to individuals involved in the removal process. This can involve using special equipment, such as bee suits and smoker boxes, to safely remove the bees and their hive. In some cases, the bees may be relocated to a new location, while in others they may be destroyed. The final step in the process is to repair or clean up the area where the bees were located to prevent future infestations. What are the steps involved in removing bees from a property? The steps involved in removing bees from a property typically include inspection, identification of the bee colony, preparation of the removal area, removal of the bees and their hive, cleaning up the affected area, and repairing or sealing any entry points to prevent future infestations, as well as assess any potential dangers or obstacles that may need to be addressed during the removal process. How the safety of the bees and the individuals is involved ensured during the removal process. The safety of the bees and the individuals involved in the removal process is ensured by following proper safety protocols and using appropriate equipment, such as bee suits and smoker boxes. Bee suits provide a barrier between the individual and the bees, while smoker boxes are used to calm the bees and make the removal process easier and safer. Additionally, professional bee removal companies will have experience and training in safely removing bee colonies and will take all necessary precautions to ensure the safety of everyone involved. Can the bees be relocated instead of killed? Yes, in some cases, the bees can be relocated instead of killed. This is typically done when the bee colony is not a threat to individuals or property. Relocating the bees involves safely removing the colony and placing them in a new location where they can establish a new hive. This approach is more environmentally friendly and can help to support local bee populations. What kind of equipment is needed for bee removal? The equipment needed for bee removal typically includes bee suits, smoker boxes, and tools for removing the bee colony and hive. How much does bee removal typically cost? On average, bee removal can cost anywhere from $100 to $1,000 or more. Factors that can affect the cost of bee removal include the size of the colony, the location of the colony, and the need for special equipment or techniques to remove the bees safely. What factors can affect the cost of bee removal? Additionally, the cost of bee removal may vary depending on the time of year and the availability of bee removal services in the area. Other factors that may affect the cost of bee removal include the need for follow-up repairs or cleaning, the need for special transportation of the bees to a new location, and the need for additional services, such as pest control or sealing of entry points to prevent future infestations. In some cases, insurance may cover the cost of bee removal if the colony poses a threat to individuals or property. How can PestServices.com determine if a bee colony is dangerous or not? The danger posed by a bee colony can depend on several factors, including the size of the colony, the location of the colony, and the temperament of the bees. In general, a bee colony that is left alone and is not disturbed is not likely to be dangerous. However, if the colony is located in a high-traffic area or if the bees are easily agitated, they may pose a threat to individuals. It is important to seek the help of a professional bee removal service to assess the danger posed by a bee colony and determine the best course of action. Can the bee removal process be done by individuals without professional help? While it is possible for individuals to remove a bee colony without professional help, it is not recommended. The process of removing a bee colony can be dangerous and requires specialized equipment and knowledge to ensure the safety of the individual and the bees. Additionally, improperly removing a bee colony can result in further problems, such as the bees returning to the area or establishing a new colony nearby. It is best to seek the help of a PestServices.com professional bee removal service to ensure the safe and effective removal of a bee colony. What should be done after the bees have been removed to prevent future infestations? After the bees have been removed, it is important to clean up the affected area and repair or seal any entry points to prevent future infestations. This may involve removing any remaining honey or wax, cleaning up any debris, and sealing cracks or gaps in the affected area. It is also important to continue to monitor the area for any signs of future infestations and to seek the help of a professional if necessary. Proper maintenance and inspection can help to prevent future bee infestations and ensure a safe and pest-free environment.